Hello, and welcome to another episode of Two Suitcase Engineers. This is part two in the series of how to leverage Garmin data that's connected to Strava and leveraging Strava APIs via Power BI and then massaging it using Power Query to visualize that information. In part one, which is available in the description below as a link, we covered the solution overview on how I got data out of my Garmin account into Strava use their APIs to get connected to Power BI, and then we leverage Power Query to massage that data to get it into a consumable format. In this episode, we're going to go in depth and cover some more techniques on data modeling and using a star schema methodology, and then we're going to leverage data visualization techniques to set that data up in a consumable format that surfaces insights for any athletes that's consuming this information. So without further ado, let's jump right into the advanced data modeling that we have done on this data.
Hello, all. Welcome back. In our previous session, we have seen how we brought in data from Strava activity, and in this session, I'll show you how we did designed this athlete dashboard. So what we picked for the designing is the star schema. Star schema is a well-known data warehousing modeling in the industry, in the entire industry. So how a star schema works is we have a fact and the dimensions. So imagining we have a sales data. So let's say we have a product called as Alexa, and how many people are using Alexa and how frequently it is being using it, what date they are using is a fact table. So every star schema is like we have a fact, and it has surrounded by the dimensions table. So it's like a star, how it has all corners of all triangles towards it, right? So the same way the star schema is like a fact with all dimensions related towards it. And let me go over you how we designed this data model and what are the challenges we faced. So for the first one of the first challenges we faced in building this data model is we have a data like athlete shoe, a shoe data. We have imported this shoe data which has a start date and end date, and we want to calculate a mileage of this start date and end date. As you may remember, in our last episode, we created a function on how we can loop in the data. So we use a similar kind of a mechanism here to create a function so that we can calculate a age of a shoe by the dates. So I created a function which will give me mileage of a shoe. So let's say if I want to calculate a mileage between 5 and or from May to June of 2021, I can just provide the date and invoke the function, and the function will give me the output of the data. So this way we can calculate a mileage of every shoe. So you can apply the same logic to any of your data requirements. So now let me go back to the data modeling and what are the different aspects in the data modeling we need to do before going into the reporting. So let's say in your data model we have a latitudes and longitude which presents location information. So you need to make sure that it is tagged as a latitude. When you click on a latitude and into the properties, go to the advanced, there you see the data category where you can select it as a latitude. So, as similar to this latitude, you can do any of your web URLs, image URLs, or any locational data. And then comes the measures are the numbers or an aggregated part of the data. Measures, calculated columns, like how we did it as a latitude, longitude, all this comes as a metadata of any your data model. Metadata means data about data, right? So let's say I created this measure, a distance in miles. This is a simple mathematical calculation which I did over here. So this is a metadata, a DAX measure, which is calculating a value, right? So same way we did it for the calories as again another mathematical calculation. So what is this? Is it's called as a DAX language in Power BI, that is data analytical expressions, which is similar to your Excel formulas. And then So this is how we built the data model, and the part of the data modeling which we did is a data exploratory analysis. An exploratory analysis is to understand what is this data and ask questions and form a story. So now Santosh will explain you how he used this data to build his own dashboard.
Okay, now comes the fun part. So, fun part about preparing, playing with any data is for me is data visualization. So now we've seen how we took the data that comes from Strava APIs and did extensive data modeling using star schema methodology. So now my goal when doing visualization is based on a few key performance indicators that I wanted to surface on a regular basis, which is I want to be able to tell how much mileage I have on my shoe and how much life I have left on my shoe. That's my primary intention, and also get a glimpse of how I'm doing year over year on a snapshot basis. So for that, again, data visualization is such a broad concept where you can take the same data and spin it in 100 different ways and present and surface insights in multiple angles. But again, I think we took the easy option, but at least something that works for me, and that's in surfacing insights. So the layout that we came up with here is pretty simple. So again, on any given day, it tells me out of my 1,253 activities over the years, starting in 2017 and all the way to 2022, what is my favorite activity to do, right? Which is predominantly running, and there's 934 activities that are running. And also, I think the time of the day for that particular run happens to be in the morning. So that's the surface. That's an insight I wanted to surface here. And also, I think the average my heart rate activity during these during an activity is something that I track pretty regularly over the years, which is again available in a detailed format in another tab of this dashboard as well, which we'll go into. But again, this page here gives me a good snapshot overview of how I'm doing over the years, as well as the mileage on my shoe on any given day, and how much mileage I have left on it, and the average time that I use, the life of the shoe, and all that good stuff, right? So that helps me keep track of the mileage, as well as think about when I should be replacing the shoe. And the other aspect I love about this snapshot overview is also it takes me back to all the places that I've traveled to, where I have this habit of going to different places and doing a run there while I'm there, right? So just to log. And again, this is my IoT device, or the device that helps me track those activities, which is a Garmin Phoenix 5. That is what I'm using right now. Again, this is pretty good snapshot information all in one place. So now let's see how I took it a step further and went into building detailed dashboard based on all these activities, right? So one of the things that I monitor pretty closely is how my pace is over the years, right? So is it improving or decreasing, and also the correlation of my pace while I'm doing running or cycling or any activity to my heart rate, right? So again, I think that's the chart that I have here. And this visualization again helps me to start see the patterns over the years, as well as I'm able to slice and dice the data all the way down to a monthly or weekly level to deep dive into this data set, right? So which is pretty cool. And the same thing, I'm able to do some calorie analysis on how many calories I'm burning. And again, if I want to take this a step further, I can even bake this in. I can even bring in some more metrics or some more data inside on my calorie intake in comparison with the calorie burn rate and all that good stuff. So one of the cool things I love here on this visualization down here is my heart rate comparison for indoor and outdoor runs, and which is a pretty good insight that I was not aware of, and this graph pretty much portrays a good picture of it, which is my heart rate goes up for outdoor runs during summer months from July to November, and predominantly I live in Florida, and most of my runs are in Florida. So it's hot and humid out in Florida. Whoever have been to Florida, so it's pretty consistent with the toll my body puts on and the heart rate metrics don't lie here. So which is pretty cool insight to see, like in winter months I'm more indoors and running a lot indoors, and also my heart rate is not as high as during the summer months. So again, a year-over-year comparison is another pretty cool tool that I use to see how am I staying in shape, and how I'm compared to my activities are compared to last year, just to keep it in balance and see that I'm progressing towards whatever I'm training for, right? Either it may be a half marathon or a marathon that's coming up, or my ultimate goal is to train for an Ironman. So how am I tracking? Am I improving or not? So again, this is just me spending not more than a few hours in trying to come up with some metrics on this data set. I'm pretty sure, like, if I spend more hours on this data, there's tons of different ways of visualizing, as well as surfacing a lot of insights that I never even thought about that are possible. So with that, again, this is just an overview of how we approach the solution, and how we went about solving the problem of getting this data out from Garmin that's not accessible via Strava, and then leverage Power BI to do some extensive data modeling to get it into a shape, into a consumable format, and then we leverage the data visualization techniques here to surface insights that I can really benefit from, and track my key performance indicators, or track mileage on my shoe, which are pretty important metrics for me on the go. So again, hopefully you found this useful. So again, as I said, a two-part series. The part one link is available in the description as well, and the files that we used in this episode are available on the GitHub link that's available in description as well. So yeah, so we'll see you on the next episode with some interesting content.